It's interesting. We come to a conclusion.
Unwinding Rewinder.
It's interesting.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Yeah, we're talking about A Safe Place, which on IMDb, not too many people have rated it. What was it, like 300, 400 people?
Yeah,
Gave it a rating?
like that, 300.
Yeah, it was released at the same time as The Last Picture Show. The two directors were friends. They worked together or whatnot, so it was nice to be at the New York Film Festival.
Mm-hmm.
They were the two Americans that had a movie in that. They released the movies through the company BBS. I forget what that stands for, but that's what it was released under. Last Picture Show, Safe Place, Easy Rider, and a few others were released under that studio. And if you look on the IMDb page, Last Picture Show has around 22,000 ratings on IMDb, which A Safe Place only has like 400 or so. So not many people have seen it. Not many people have seen this in comparison to that other movie. What were your first impressions of A Safe Place?
Well, I felt I could really identify with the main character as someone who really has had difficulty growing up and adjusting to adulthood. I don't know, just in the movie, the main character is in a room filled with like childhood delights. She's rocking on a rocking horse and hugging a doll, and it's like, oh my gosh, it's me. I'm a doll collector, so it's like, okay, that is me. Freaky. But, so I felt like all throughout the movie is like, felt somehow connected, yeah.
In comparison to the Last Picture Show, in comparison to that, Last Picture Show, you got scene by scene. You pretty much know what's going on. The story just flows. She hasn't seen the Last Picture Show yet, but she has seen A Safe Place, and A Safe Place is different structure-wise. It's more of inside somebody's head, looking back over the memories. And it's really an emotional, you follow it emotionally, or that's one thing that the director, Henry Jaglom, or Haglom, however you say it, he was talking about it. And very interesting how you follow it differently, and it's definitely not cut the way that a lot of movies are that just have the basic structure.
Yeah, and I think because of that, you actually understand it the more you watch it. Like, I've only seen it the one time, so I feel like if I watch it again, I'll get more from it.
Yeah, it had a vibe of similar movies that have been released in the past few decades. If you look at Eternal Sunshine, The Spotless Mind, that is taking place in more of the headspace. There's one point where there's the Jack Nicholson character, and he's talking about exes and how, well, he put it like, shouldn't they just be dead? Because, they're kind of dead from your life. That you just want them to be gone. You don't want them to move on or anything. So that reminded me of Eternal Sunshine, and the company erasing people's memories of their past ones that they can't get over. And, we started thinking that, everybody that comes into our life, you kind of had that umbilical cord attached to them. But if they ever exit, their body's gone, but that umbilical cord is still there, and it's all the memories and emotions and everything that's still there, and it's all just flailing around right off you. So everybody you come in contact with is just another umbilical cord that is stuck into on your body, but really in your brain, really. And
yeah, and try as you might, you can't separate yourself from them.
Yeah, once somebody's attached, you can't just erase them from your memory, even though people do try. In Eternal Sunshine, that company does it for you.
And you also compared the movie to Annie Hall?
Yeah, the setting is New York, and if you know Annie Hall, Woody is Woody. Woody's going back, thinking about his memories with Annie, and just trying to figure out what happened there, And I figure that this character in A Safe Place, Tuesday Weld's character, she's going back over her memories, and there are the people who are attached to her.
One of the things that really confused me was why the main character had 2 different names. She was called Susan, but she was also called Noah. I didn't understand.
Yeah, I read up on some, the few reviews that are out there with that user reviews out there and whatnot. I think during the time, and Orson Welles is in this for, he plays this magician character, which I found out on the commentary that the director wanted. He was talking to Orson, which I heard the Last Picture Show director also was talking to Orson Welles around the same time. But anyways, he was talking to Orson, and he really wanted him to be in there. And since he knew Orson was a magician and all, he decided to make this character for him, which Orson plays this fatherly character that comes in and out of the movie. And very interesting how that works. And during the part with Orson Welles, he is calling her Susan. So her name is Susan during those times, and when she is with everybody else is Noah. So maybe she just has 2 names. Maybe she named herself Noah after she was. Maybe she changed her name to Susan. Maybe Noah was her middle name. Maybe she's like Noah's Ark. Noah's Ark. That was what she talked about with Orson Welles, was under the Noah's Ark, which she gave to her in her pocket. So if that was a memory, maybe she decided to name herself Noah because she's on an ark. Maybe her whole life is like this ark, and she's trying to save it. She's trying to save her life because their childhood. She's trying to save what she's left behind and trying to save it in her little ark. So maybe she is Noah.
So now I need to go back and rewatch that.
You see, that just clicked in place right there, because I didn't even think about the Noah's Ark thing and why her name was Noah until I just started talking about it right there. So that's interesting. And Orson Welles is very present throughout this movie in his magic tricks, trying to make people disappear, which really is kind of like trying to get that umbilical cord cut off, but it's not working. He tries his damnedest to, but he ends up disappearing in the end.
So do you think that Orson Welles' character is invisible and just she's the only one who sees him?
He definitely could be a part of her imagination. It could be memory. It's definitely open to interpretation. He could be just something that she's made up, and he's a part of her safe place. It could be the father that she had, or the father she didn't have, or that figure in her life that helps her move on with life. But, it's a good question, because, really this movie's set up. It starts off, she's listening to this song from the jukebox, and then she's just sitting there like, yeah, and then it goes, and then it goes into the memories, really, and then by the time the credits roll, it gets back to her at the jukebox, and it was like, was that taking place inside of her head, the whole time? Which could have been the case. This was based off of a play that Henry wrote back in the 60s, and he wanted to make it into a movie after he had helped out with Easy Rider, because, the people, he was like, yeah, okay, I want to make this movie, make this into a movie. So he based the character of Tuesday Weld character, Noah Susan, off of, I think, the real life, himself, and then somebody else that was also in some of these BBS movies, I forget her name, and the Tuesday Weld herself. So it was like a combination of the three, and his memories and her personality and the other one's personality, and kind of just combined into this one character, which was quite interesting. I wonder how it was if he had the play was a little bit different before the movie was made.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that it sounded like he had a bunch of footage, and he kind of sculpted down to how he liked it. Recently I was hearing Terrence Malick does that kind of thing, which I was listening to Brad Jones and the gang talk about Two of the Wonder with a bunch of people like Ben Affleck and others, and some people were in that movie, but he didn't even use the footage, and or he didn't even put them in there. and that seems like how Henry is. After listening to an interview from his 1971, around right at the time of the release of Safe Place and Last Picture Show, sounds like he does the same thing as Terrence Malick.
What else?
Relationships and Jack Nicholson. Jack Nicholson's character comes in and he's kind of shakes things up a little bit. Him and Tuesday kind of had a situation going that, as he put it, when an alternate reality needs to, come in, kind of makes you look at things in a different way, a different perspective, I guess. But after Jack Nicholson, well, right near the end, he kind of comes back in and kind of shakes things up, but then it kind of ends. It reminds you of Eternal Sunshine and Annie Hall yet again, with the shaking up of, the relationships and going in and out. And in Annie Hall, when he had broken up with Annie, or they broke up, and then he went on that date with that, Transplendent, or, what's her face, and she was talking about the concerts, and then she's, they were going, and then she was like, yeah, that was great, and then they're after they had sex or whatever, then Annie calls up, and then he's like, oh yeah, no, it's fine, and then he comes over to her house, and he's like, I'm unhappy, or she's unhappy, whatnot, and she's like, was there somebody else with you there? I'm just going into the whole damn scene, I'm sorry, but, that scene,
Yeah,
that scene, that reminded me of when Jack Nicholson comes back, but just in the sense that, somebody that came back they had a thing before.
Well, do you think the main character, Susan, Noah, whatever you want to refer to her as, you think she really had the capability to love? She was in these relationships, but
That's a very good question.
Did she know what love was?
Did she know what love was? Was she able to love? The good question would be, what happened with her father when she grew up? What was her father relationship? Was Orson Welles her father? Was that what she wanted her father to be? Was that father not there? Was that part of it? I think any psychologist would probably look back at that and try to figure that out.
I really thought it was interesting how she recognized how when people love, their eyes are kind of like glowing, like lamps, like lights. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, I do. It's very interesting, that light that's in your eye.
But her eyes were dull brown, and she didn't.
And she was saying like her father's eyes were like creamed over or something, like there wasn't any light shining through, kind of just dull, dead eyes.
So, one other thing I was really thinking about was like the two boyfriends, Jack Nicholson's character and the other one,
Philip Proctor.
Yeah, it's like, which one was first? And
well, by the way I see it, I think Jack Nicholson was there before. He was there before, and then this new Philip came in, and then Jack's like, hey, wait, what's he doing here? I didn't know about him. I'm not feeling uncomfortable. I come in here and we're kissing because I didn't know he was. So he got uncomfortable, and so I think Jack was first.
there's so many different movies like that.
Play It Again, Sam. I mean, he's trying to steal Diane Keaton from his Casablanca, which actually I think there might have been some music from Casablanca in the movie. I'm not sure. At some point, I think there was some Casablanca thing. Maybe it was in the commentary track, but that also was in Play It Again, Sam. Play It Again, Sam is about it's like Casablanca, Woody Allen's Casablanca. It involves Casablanca and the whole setting and everything, but that was also a play turned into a movie. So,
Do you think Susan, Noah, whatever, do you think she might have had some sort of mental illness? I don't know. I was thinking
well, that
maybe.
could be.
I know.
This reminded you of Sylvia Plath, didn't it?
Yeah, it did remind me of Sylvia, just mainly because of the whole committing suicide idea and how Sylvia just really couldn't cope with growing up.